here is the host of the Adventurous Joe Show, the Adventurous Joe himself, Joseph Michaels!
Everyone, and welcome to this week's Adventurous Joe Show. I am your host, as always, the Adventurous Joe. And it's Retro Week, baby, and we've kind of gone back in time. That means yours truly is not even wearing the Adventurous Joe t-shirt. I'm wearing my Mighty Morphin. Damn! Either way, this week's Adventurous Joe Show, we've gone back in time. See, I've even got retro sunglasses. We've gone back in time and we're doing a little throwback week of sorts, okay? First off, let me just say this. Big congratulations in the future of 2015, excuse me, big congratulations to Super Bowl 49 champs, the New England Patriots. It was a close game, people. It was a close freaking game. And yours truly was there to see it all. Woo! Unbelievable. Either way, I was also, had to travel back in time to do this little throwback week thing, because you're going to want to hear some of the good stuff we got in store for y'all. Okay, first off, our comic book review, we're going back in time and reviewing the amazing, actually it's Marvel Masterworks, The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. Now, this is not the new Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. This is classic, very old, vintage Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. And it's also, since it's Throwback Week, we're doing all this back in time stuff, I'm also doing a video game review on Resident Evil Code Veronica. Sweet! Movie review is going to be on the Star Wars, the original trilogy. I love it! May the Force be with you. There you go. And last but not least, also, we're doing a TV review of Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Woo! And our anime review is also throwback, as we're reviewing Robotech, the complete saga. I love it! That series, I grew up watching that damn thing every Saturday freaking morning! Loved it. Loved it, people. Okay, and last but not least, our Cosplayer of the Week segment. We'll go back into the future, 2015, to that part when we're done. Okay, in the meantime, it's time now for our... Hey, where'd it go? Sorry about that. Our comic book review. Coming up next, baby. To this week's comic book review. Now, as I said, this is Throwback Week, so we're doing a lot of back in time kind of stuff. And we're starting off with this little gem right here. This is The Amazing Spider-Man Marvel Masterworks Volume 1 trade paperback. This contains all the classic Spider-Man storyline, all the way from Amazing Fantasy, number 15, to Amazing Spider-Man number 9. Ooh, how awesome, huh? Either way you look at it, this trade paperback is a classic. Now, it started off in hardcover, so it took a long time before they did trade paperback format. Okay, either way, you've got to see this. Look at this little gem. Look at that. Ooh, classic Spider, people. Look at that, he getting bitch slapped by a Doc Ock. I got a black eye out of it, man. There's where he's taking on Sandman. The usual Peter Parker and blah blah blah. Now, this little gem costed 13 freaking bucks. Seriously? 13 bucks and they charged more for the hardcover. Wow. Unreal. Either way you look at it, this is a solid read if you're a classic Amazing Spider-Man fan. You want to know how Spider-Man got his beginnings and stuff? This is perfect for you. Okay, now like I said, graphic novel price is $12.95. On Amazon, I think it's a lot cheaper, or it's a lot more expensive now. I'm not sure. You'll have to look that up in your timeline. I love this timeline stuff. Either way you look at it, this is a solid read for any Amazing Spider-Man fan, okay? If you love the Amazing Spider-Man and you want the classic storyline more than the newer storylines, this is perfect for you. Badass seal of approval for a lot of the good action in it and stuff. And a high recommendation, you check it out for yourselves. Also, we are giving it a 10 out of 10. Marvel did a fantastic job bringing these classic comics back to life in this thing. Seriously, a terrific job nonetheless. Yours truly, is the Adventurous Joe, is very frickin' happy with this book. I can't get enough of it. Sometimes I will read it at least 3 times, maybe more. Either way, that's it for our comic book review. Now, we're going to head on over to our video game review of Resident Evil Code Veronica. Coming up next. Alright people, it's time now for this week's video game review of Resident Evil Code Veronica. Now, it also says Code Veronica X, but you get the idea. Okay, this started out on the Sega Dreamcast. Okay, this thing started out on as a Dreamcast game. Never for Nintendo, never for freaking anything else until much later on. Okay, this actually started off as a Dreamcast exclusive, and then it got moved over to PlayStation 2. Then it got moved over to, later on, it got moved over to Xbox 360 and the PS3. Now, this game, I'm going to show you some old-time game footage. I meant literally, this is considered old-time game footage, people. Either way, I'm going to show you that in a moment. I'll tell you right now, this was one of my most favorite games to play. Okay? I love playing Code Veronica. Other than regular Resident Evils 1, 2, and 3, Code Veronica is pretty much a great storyline that takes place right after Resident Evil 3. Okay? It actually takes place after Resident Evil 2, sort of, but it's actually an aftermath to Resident Evil 3. Because Claire Redfield is looking for her brother, Chris. Okay? As she was doing in the second game. She didn't find him in the second game. Now in this game, she still didn't find him and stuff. She tracks him all the way to this umbrella facility and everything else. And doesn't even know Chris is going to end up in the same place she ends up at. Which is practically Dead Island. Seriously. It's almost practically Dead Island. Because every one of the soldiers that were on the damn island, the umbrella soldiers, the dogs, the experiments, so on and so forth, all become the undead. Even the dead that were in the frickin' ground already become undead. Oy. Either way, check out this classic game footage and we'll tell you more about the game. Unbelievable, people. Welcome to Resident Evil. Well, actually, it's Resident Evil Code Veronica, but you get the idea. Okay, now like I said, classic game footage, people. This is actually how game footage was back then, okay? It's not the greatest in the world, and if you play it on Xbox 360 and PS3, or, PS3, sorry, it's still a little of the same, okay? It's not the greatest in the world, but the graphics are more improved on it and everything. Now, Resident Evil Code Veronica is basically the story of Claire Redfield hunting for her brother Chris, who doesn't come into the picture until later on in the game. Specifically, when you end up in Antarctica. Okay? Then, Chris goes and does everything on the island, prison facility, whatever you want to call it exactly, okay? Does everything that Claire was already doing and stuff, going back and forth, doing this, doing that, blah, 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 okay? And it's just a very repetitive game, okay? But some of the most incredible boss battles. Tyrant on the plane was a bitch to beat, but nonetheless, awesome as hell to frickin' fight Tyrant. In such a close quarter, too. I mean, you have to keep shooting him and then trying to eject him out the damn plane. Seriously. It was just too much of a gameplay. And the graphics in this were not too bad back then and stuff like that. It was when technology was starting to develop gameplay a lot better, you know, improved graphics and all that kind of stuff. Better than what we had back in the 8-bit era and so on and so forth. Now, when it's Resident Evil Code Veronica, you have basically the same methods of everything. Find weapons, get ammo, get the green herb, get the red herb, blah, 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 blah. Okay, same deal. Find this key, get this thing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, still the same shit over and over again. However, it's got some of the greatest boss battles ever, including the final boss, Alexia. Jesus God, that woman was a bitch to beat if you don't have the right tools, necessities. You know where I'm going with this, right? Either way, my final verdict on Resident Evil Code Veronica, well, since it was a classic back then and it was pretty good, I'm going with an 8 out of 10, okay? It was pretty badass to play through and stuff. But there were some levels that would make you want to pull your freaking hair out. Especially when it came to Alexia. Jesus God, if you didn't kill her just right, you are screwed. You have to do everything all over again if it didn't save at the checkpoint. Or if you didn't save the game yourself. God help you if you didn't save the game yourself back then. Oh. Either way, Resident Evil Code Veronica, we're good with an 8 out of 10, badass seal of approval, and if you own the Xbox 360 version or the PS3 version, get it, try it out. We highly recommend you try it out for yourselves. If you've already tried it out for yourselves, bravo, let us know down in the comments section down below, baby. That's what that's there for, down there in the comments section. Let us know about your amazing gameplay yourself on this game. And with that said, we're moving on to our movie review of Star Wars, the original trilogy. Coming up next. Babies. Alright, ladies and gents, welcome back. It's time now for this week's movie review throwback of Star Wars, the original trilogy. Now, this is on DVD, people. I didn't have my VHS copies handy, otherwise I'd be doing that instead. But either way, this movie serial is what started Star Wars on the path it is on now. Okay? All the way from 1977 up to 1984, I believe it was, that the original Star Wars trilogy ended. It started off with Episode 4, A New Hope, and then continued on with Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, and Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, which was originally titled Revenge of the Jedi. Seriously, it was originally titled Revenge of the Jedi. But see, Lucas went back and thought about it and said, no, how would it exactly be Revenge of the Jedi when Jedi don't take vengeance on stuff? So, good for him. He went and changed it to Return of the Jedi. Even after the posters came out and it all said Revenge of the Jedi. Go figure, people. Either way, it was the early 1970s. 1977, May of 1977, the original Star Wars came out. This series was perfect. I mean, loved Star Wars nonetheless, okay? The prequel trilogy, it's okay. But The original trilogy is what takes it, people. Family Guy went back and did their own freaking making fun of the series and stuff like that, but at the same time they had great respect for the Star Wars original trilogy. In this movie serial, you get the story of how Darth Vader has fallen to the dark side, Anakin has fallen to the dark side, excuse me, and became Darth Vader. Luke and Leia, his son and daughter, are separated, but don't know their brother and sister yet, and everything else. When the first Star Wars film came out in 1977, which was also the same year that yours truly was born, in December of 1977. Wait a minute. I'm 37 years old. This movie came out 37 years ago, and no wife, no kids. Oh, never mind. Okay, either way you look at it, a great series nonetheless. All three movies, lots of action, lots of romance, good stuff. Using the Force, learning to use the Force, and so on and so forth. Master Yoda back then was a badass motherfucker before Mother Mofo, excuse me. Long before the prequel trilogy. Even as an old Jedi Master, he still could kick your ass if he wanted to. Okay? He plays like a dumb character and so on and so forth. Jabba the Hutt's a bit of a sleazeball. I mean, seriously, around women, he is kind of a pervert. Okay? Dressing up women in slave bikinis. Nothing really wrong with it, but either way you look at it. Star Wars, the original trilogy, I have to tell you right now, I want to give it the biggest badass seal of approval I can stamp on it. Because back then, the action was perfect. And I love how J.J. Abrams says he went back and none of the CGI stuff. He went back and he used, original effects and stuff like that, like they did back in the original trilogy. I like that idea. I love that idea altogether. Now, like I said, badass seal of approval on this one. High recommendation. If you have not seen Star Wars, or if you ever seen Star Wars, we want to know your thoughts down in the comments below. But high recommendation, you let your whole family check it out for themselves. I mean, they would love the original trilogy. Luke, Leia, Chewbacca, Han, Darth Vader, C-3PO and R2-D2, Obi-Wan, Yoda, you name them, they were all in it. I meant seriously good character development back then. Seriously good acting, so on and so forth. Storylines, pretty great. I mean, George Lucas going back and doing the special edition was even better, but the original trilogy itself, long before the special edition, was perfect. Okay? Pretty damn good, nonetheless. My badass seal of approval, high recommendation, and a final verdict of 10 out of 10. I highly recommend you pick it up. Try it out for yourselves. If you've already seen them 100 times or more, let us know in the comments section down below. What is your favorite Star Wars moment? What's your favorite Star Wars quote? Put it down in the comments section down below. Alright, now we're going to move on to our TV review for Throwback Week of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. Coming up next. Alright people, it's time now for this week's Throwback Week TV review, and it's of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. One of the greatest sci-fi epic TV series to come out, besides Battlestar Galactica, and quite a couple others out there and stuff, Lost in Space and stuff. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century was the first time ever they took and made a storyline that had a time travel effect of sorts. Okay? Other than Planet of the Apes, where he goes through they go through an interdimensional time warp and so on and so forth, okay, and end up somehow in where it's supposed to be Earth and so on and so forth, okay. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century is about Buck Rogers, who went back. He was somehow suspended in time and space and stuff, okay. a shuttle launch went bad or something, and he ended up suspended in time for millennia. Seriously. By the time he woke up, he was in the future. Okay? Now, it says here, blast off with groundbreaking episode of action-packed sci-fi adventure. Buck Rogers in the 25th century joined legendary intergalactic crime fighters William Buck Rogers, played by Gil Gerard, by the way, and Colonel Wilma Deering, played by the lovely Erin Gray. I mean, seriously, even today, that woman is still gorgeous. Seriously. And as they lead the crew of the Starship Searcher against a galaxy of evil from the past, present, and faraway future. Seriously. Now, Twiki was one of my favorite characters in Buck Rogers. I even had his little action figure. I actually had all the action figures, all the toys. I had his the little Twiki doll that, you know, you could walk, make it walk, and so on and so forth. Twiki was an amuquad. Okay, it's basically like a cybernetic robot. Okay, but he could walk, talk, make smart-ass remarks, and anything else he could think of, you know. But even when he sees gorgeous women, he'd go, hubba, hubba. But the one thing he always did before any talking was always that beep, 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 beep. One of my favorite shows of all time, Buck Rogers in the 25th century. I love this series. I mean, seriously loved it. I loved how the characters developed. I liked how Princess Ardala went from being the evil, wicked princess and stuff who was out to destroy the colonies and so on and so forth, to falling head over heels for Buck Rogers, but finding out later she had no chance with him. He's in love with Wilma Deering and so on and so forth. I mean, it was perfect. It was a great series back then. I loved how it developed over and over again, you know. Even Twiki's character, he frickin' hit that little amuquad. He just, he would get under your skin sometimes, but he was funny about it. Okay? Like, he would sit there talking about, like, if Buck told him to do something, he'd mock Buck on it, and so on and so forth. Either way, the series was an incredibly great show back then. Back in basically the early 1970s, it was either the early 1970s or late 1970s, going into the early 80s. Either way, the show was perfect. It was a great show nonetheless. It started off great, kind of dull and boring at some points, but it got better and better. Battlestar Galactica was the same way. The remake, I am not talking about the remake. I am talking about the original Battlestar Galactica, not that crappy remake. Seriously, who the heck goes around saying frack all the time? Seriously, if you're just gonna say the F word, say it already. Don't say frack me and frack this. And never mind. We're getting off topic here. Either way you look at it, my final verdict on Buck Rogers in the 25th century, we're going with an 8 out of 10. It was a great series. Badass seal of approval for a lot of the great action in it. Great storyline nonetheless. High recommendation you check it out for yourselves if you have not seen this series ever. I mean, seriously, you can still get it on DVD and it's pretty damn cheap. But check it out for yourselves. And if you're a fan of Buck Rogers, let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. This was an incredibly great series for its time back then and stuff. And I highly recommend you check it out for yourselves. Lots of great storylines, lots of great love interest, and so on and so forth. Buck's character developing like he does, Wilma Deering, and so on and so forth. All of them did a fantastic job. Not bad, people. Not bad. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Pamela, oh god, I forgot her name now. Pamela something, Henderson or something like that, or Hensley. Okay, she she actually plays Princess Ardala. Okay? I think I got the name right. If I didn't, let me know in the comment section down below. I forgot names here. People have forgotten names. Yeah, I got it right. Pamela Hensley. Either way, that's it for our TV review for Throwback Week. We'll see you all next time around when we do our next TV review. What will we review? We'll just have to wait and find out. Alright, now, we're moving on to our anime review for Throwback Week. Coming up next. People, it's time now for our anime review for Throwback Week, and it's of Robotech! Yes! Robotech, the complete saga! Woo! I am so happy about that. I grew up watching this series as a kid. I had all the toys, had the bases, had all that kind of stuff. I'd sit there and play battles all the time, and my sister would sometimes get on my nerves with the whole she wants to play with me, play with my stuff too and everything. But then when I got the bad guys coming and stuff, she would throw them around across the room and say, "No bad!" Why? I had a very disturbing childhood. Either way you look at it, Robotech, the complete saga, started off known as Macross Saga, okay? And it was an incredibly great series, okay? Great character development, great storylines, some of the greatest action you could ever want in a series. I mean, seriously, as the series got more and more into the future of things and stuff, like by the time the second series came out, it was the future about Max and Miria's daughter. Okay, she was all grown up. She's freaking out there fighting the good fight and so on and so forth, training to be a Robotech pilot and so on and so forth. The series just got better and better and better, okay? One of the greatest stories ever was the go-between story between the ending to Robotech and the beginning to the new generation. It's the new generation or the next generation or something like that. I think it was called the new generation. Either way you look at it, that storyline never saw of DVD release as far as I know and stuff. Unless it's out now on that big collector's set or whatever. But this one showed how Rick Hunter and Lisa Hayes, it's Lisa Hayes or Lisa Mays? Hayes. Either way, got married and before launching into space together and stuff. Okay? There was a great deal behind this storyline. And I was so surprised to see this one because I had never seen it when I was a kid and stuff. Apparently there was some stuff in it that never got qualified for TV and so on and so forth. Or it actually got shown on TV, but I don't remember ever seeing it. Either way, Robotech, the complete saga, was perfect. When they came out with the Shadow Chronicles movie, holy crap! That's the one that takes place after the third series of Robotech. Okay? And I will tell you right now, it was wonderful. But it left you hanging. It leaves you hanging. Do they ever find Rick Hunter? What happened to Rick Hunter? He's an admiral now. He's known as Admiral Hunter. Okay? Where is he? What happened to him? Where's Lisa? You know, it leaves you hanging at that point and stuff. There was another one that came out, supposed to come out, that was supposed to continue the Robotech storyline, that would find out what happened to Rick Hunter and so on and so forth. Okay? But it never got in development. I don't know what the deal was, whether Japan decided to scrap the whole thing, or America just didn't want anything to do with it, so on and so forth. Either way, the storylines in it were perfect. Okay? This show was great for its time. For an anime series of the 1980s, this series was perfect. I loved every moment of it. Seriously. It was between Transformers and Robotech. I always had a passion for Robotech. I meant Transformers, I love Transformers, but Robotech was always my favorite. I always wanted to be dressing up like Rick Hunter and stuff like that. I couldn't get the big hair right. Seriously, I could never get Rick Hunter's big hair right. Either way, I loved this series nonetheless. My final verdict on this week's Throwback Week anime review for Robotech The Complete Saga is none other than a 10 out of 10. I still can't get over how Shadow Chronicles leaves you hanging and everything, but I'm certain they will find a way to get this series finished off one way or another. I think it got finished off, though. I've never heard of it being finished or not. Either way, it's a 10 out of 10. Badass seal of approval, people. Huge badass seal of approval. And high recommendations. You check it out for yourselves. I'm sure you can find it just about anywhere now and stuff. For $50, I think it's the Complete Saga box set you can buy for $50 now or something like that. It's perfect. You should pick it up. If you're a big fan, you missed this cartoon and you want to see it again, I'm sure you can get the box set for a pretty good price. Either way, I loved this series. If you have a favorite Robotech moment, or you loved this series, or remember this series, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Okay, either way, Robotech The Complete Saga is getting a 10 out of 10, badass seal of approval, and high recommendation. You check it out for yourselves. And that's it. Now, we're going to head back to 2015 and introduce you to our Cosplayer of the Week. Coming up next. Welcome to this week's Cosplayer of the Week segment. Throwback Week has been fun, but we're back in 2015 and about to introduce you to the next inductee to the T.A.J.S. Cosplayers Hall of Fame, class of 2015. This lovely young lady, she doesn't speak very good English, but she's actually a very nice young lady to know, and a good person nonetheless. She's an incredibly great cosplayer, and she hopes to become even better this year with her cosplays. I mean, she's got a lot of them she's got in mind. She wants to try out, give new looks to, so on and so forth. Nonetheless, this young lady has earned her spot as the next Cosplayer of the Week for this show and the class of 2015. Please welcome now, as you check out her amazing cosplays in the photos we're about to show you and stuff, the lovely Miss Emily Cosplay. Check out her amazing pics, and we'll see you for the ending part of the show. Enjoy! People, there you have it. Your next inductee to the T.A.J.S. Cosplayers Hall of Fame, class of 2015, the lovely Miss Emily Cosplay. Yeah. That's right. I can do a little of the Espanol too. So there. Maybe that was more Italian than Espanol. Go figure. Either way, that's it for our show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. We've had lots of fun going back in time for the Throwback Week segments. And once again, congratulations to the lovely Emily Cosplay as being named this week's Cosplayer of the Week. And now, yours truly is going to hit the DeLorean and zoom on out of here, baby. Maybe I'll go back and see how I was born. Either way, that's it for our show for this week. I have been your host, as always, the Adventurous Joseph Michaels. Peace out. May the Force be with you. And may the power protect you all. We'll see you next week, folks. Have a great week.
Happily ever after only exists in fairy tales. Yet a talking teddy bear is about to marry his girlfriend.
I now pronounce you teddy bear and wife. May kiss the bear.
Proving that Americans don't give a crap about anything.
So I got some big news. Tammy Lynn and I are gonna have a baby.
That's awesome. Wait, how do you guys...
We need a sperm donor. What is that? What are you doing?
Getting ready, dude.
What are you getting ready? What are you doing with your hand?
I'm doing this for you, so when I get in there, I can just bust it out.
What do you think you are, Red Lobster? Hey, Johnny, you did it!
Right here, buddy.
Catch.
What the? Dude, that's somebody's kid. Fight some shit!
Dude, it's in my eyes! I'm blinking it in!
Oh, wait. I'm gonna take a picture and post it on Facebook.
What?
Hashtag Monday.
Help me!
Oh my God, Teddy, look at this. It says if we want to have a baby, you're going to have to prove you're a person in a court of law.
This is a nightmare.
We gotta fight it. We'll get a lawyer, and we'll sue the government for your civil rights.
I'm Samantha Jackson. You must be Ted.
Yeah, Samantha Jackson. What's your middle name?
Leslie.
Oh my God, you're Sam L. Jackson.
That's great. I mean, just like Sam L. Jackson.
Who is that?
You ever seen any movie ever? He's the black guy.
They've denied you the same rights as everybody else just because you're different.
Can you get me my life back?
Ted, do you believe you have a soul?
What did you think I would do at this moment?
Objection.
Overruled. You want to be human in the eyes of the law. The important thing about being human is making a contribution to society.
Where the hell's my coffee? You're not building rockets? Figure it out!
What a prick. $20, I could toss a cookie crisp into that guy's ass crack. Do it. I'm gonna do it.
Oh my God!
Who did that?
Sir, I apologize for my 5-year-old child. Bad Butch, you sit there and eat your fish nuggets.
Fishy nuggies.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a few test questions now. You ready?
Yep, bring it on.
Do you consider yourself to be human?
Objection.
Sustained.
No, the witness can object.
Overruled.
Sidebar.
Guilty.
Speculation.
Hearsay.
Bailiff.
Briefcase.
Disregard.
In my chamber.
Stop beavering the witness.
Arrest.
We could totally be lawyers.
Bang.